Hi guys! We finally got to the finale. I am surprised, but not so much. Let's talk about the last episode of Are You Next and the final lineup. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe to keep up with the survival show, and don't forget to like. Thanks! This last episode was actually live. We had the audience, who could vote live, the eliminated girls and their families. MC Sooyoung explains we will watch 2 missions in this live. The first mission has new songs for the project, and the second one has all 10 trainees together. Then she explains how the voting system will work. Oh god, here we go again. The global votes that we spent time voting this past week will count for 30%, meanwhile, who is voting live will count for 70%. The only ones who could vote live are Koreans, and I have to say this, I don't know how the audience was chosen, but in the past live audiences they asked them who their bias was and not all the people get a remote control to vote. I think today the audience would vote only on the Toss app, so everyone there could vote. It's still a weird system and it ignores completely the global fans, as they have been doing for some time. It just felt like our votes from last week didn't count for anything, because who would really decide the picks are the people who were there today. Also, 2 girls will be chosen by the fans, and the other 4 will be chosen by the coaches. It ended up being 6 girls. No extra member, no surprises, they will be 6 girls like they always told us. But I have to say it was kind of boring today, because there was no invited artist, and even Bang PD wasn't there personally. He sent a video with a message to everyone. In other survival shows, they always call some famous group to see the finale, but this one had nobody. They really don't care about Are You Next. Before the performances, they show us how our global voting for the last week went. It was great if it stopped there. Youngso was first, Minju second, Jimin third, Yuna fourth, Jiwoo fifth, and Iroha sixth. This lineup would make sense. They revealed the name of the group, and it was not any name that people were predicting. It's called ILLIT, just like that, to be hard to write and say it. Imagine you want to listen to their song and calls your TV or Alexa to play it, I bet she won't understand the name because of how it's written. Like Kepler with the number 1 instead of L. I'll place here exactly how they described the group's name meaning. ILLIT represents choosing your own verb to put between I will and it. It expresses making independent decisions, it shows their direction as the group with potential. This is very similar to what I said on episode 8, about Chanel and Jiwoo asking to redo their auditions and try for the song they wanted, and the coaches got offended. See, when you do what the name of their future group wants to show, they don't like it, very interesting. Before the performances, as always, they show their rehearsal. They showed the 2 new songs, Aim High and Desperate. I like both of them, I think they sound really nice and they will probably be in the future album. After the performance, I think I like Desperate more, but it has too much autotune in some parts. The system to decide the parts is the same as last mission, they audition. For Desperate we have Minju center, Jiwoo main vocal, Jimin lead vocal, Youngso sub vocal 1 and Iroha sub vocal 2. For Aim High we have Wonhee center, Yuna main vocal, Jongin lead vocal, Mocha sub vocal 1 and Himina sub vocal 2. Then we have the performances. I don't think they were singing live, there were very few parts when it seemed live, but the rest was too perfect. And considering this was a live broadcast, their voices couldn't be edited, so I think they did like the groups do nowadays, they pre-record the performance and then lip-sync when live. Maybe some of them were singing above it, but the song playing definitely had the vocals together, not the instrumental only. Talking about the performance itself, there's no way it would be bad at this point of the survival show. But I'm not convinced with Wonhee as center, she wasn't bad, but I realized her dance doesn't have that power, you know. Yuna and Jonghyun had more of a center aura for me in this song. I like the Desperate performance more, the song and the dance had more impact on me, just like Pride has more impact than Scrum. This team also seemed more like they are already part of a group singing their songs. It reminded me of the song Mask by Kepler. I think I heard more screaming to Desperate than for Aim High. The trainees I think I heard the most screams were Yuna, Jiwoo and Jimin. Of course Wonhee comes right after them, but with a bit less noise. That gave me hope that this golden trio could be on the final lineup. I think they fit so well as a group, Yuna, Jiwoo and Jimin. Thinking about it, if the Desperate team had Yuna added, they would be a good 6-member group, and if they could add Mocha or switch Iroha with her, I would be happy because I was rooting for her. But as I always said, a group with 7 would be better, not only for the dance formations, but also because 6 is a low number for a survival show and there is a curse on groups with 6 members, they always end up with someone leaving, or simply disbanding. After the performances, we have a break with a video showing us their last night together. The survival show prepared a space for them to chill out and play some games, to interact with each other and show us that, for example, Mocha can be in the same group as Minju, you know what I mean. So that way we can look at all of them and think, oh, I think any of the girls could be together and work as a team, I'll accept any of them debuting, but it's not what really happened to me. They also show us how when he is cute and funny, how Yuna is also very funny and outgoing. They tell us stories about Youngso and Iroha, and we can see Yuna and Jiwoo being besties again, so we get sadder when they don't debut together. Oops, that was a spoiler. But Yuna also tells a story about her and Iroha. Then they all watch to the best performances/scenes chosen by the trainees. Of course Bad Girl Good Girl is number 1. They ask Iroha to repeat her slid in Given Taken. After watching all the videos, they went to sleep. They revealed the top 4 trainees by the live votes in the middle of the voting process, so the people who haven't voted yet can change their votes. First was Minju, second was Youngso, third was Wonhee and fourth was Jimin. They show us some videos and curiosities about the girls, which I'll skip. Sometimes the camera shows us the trainees who were eliminated. I got so happy to see all the girls there, Chanel, Moa, Jihyun, Funa, Ruka. I hope they all can debut soon. Even Iris seemed happy. By the way, they all looked way better and healthier than when they left the show, especially Chanel. Now, the 10 trainees will perform the theme song run for the survival show together. We watch a new break video with they having fun practicing together, and then they go camping to watch their first vlog in their lockers, as a letter to them in case they got to the finals. I have to say I got emotional, but some were funny too. Then, they say some words to their past selves. They all have the original clothes from the show and the performance starts. I feel like Jong-un stood out a lot in this finale, but some people didn't really fit here for me. It's nice to see 10 people on stage, but I was hoping to see all the 22 in this one. I was getting sad about it, thinking what a forbidden word show it was. But as soon as they finished, they showed us the eliminated trainees. Ruka said some words about how she spent this time with her family in Japan, then Jihyun and Moa say some words for the trainees. Then MC Sooyoung announces that there will be a performance with the 22 trainees. We can see a video of their practice time with everyone together and Jihyun explains it is a medley of the 3 songs of round 2. So every team will perform their songs in a shorter version. The songs from this round were Fearless, Attention and Given Taken. The performance starts with Given Taken, then Fearless and at last, Attention. They start with the first part of the song, with 4 trainees, they cut to the bridge with the other team, and then everyone ends the song together. It goes like this for the other songs too, but changing the bridge to a pre-chorus. I got so happy to see them all again, especially my picks that were eliminated. And it's good to see they are fine and seemed happy. Chanel was smiling when she appeared in the cameras, it was like a relief, because I got worried with her in the last episodes. They show us the video message from Bang PD, and finally we get to the part one was scared but anxious to see, the final lineup. You know, it's a bit weird that everything we saw and voted for during the show won't count to the lineup of the group. I mean, they almost discarded the global votes from the last week, and the coaches will judge based on today's performances, as well as the people there. Big ranking changes happened here, it doesn't even make sense to change like that. But let's get through it. First, they will announce who were the 2 audience-picked trainees. They will announce everyone in order from 1 to 6. The first one to be announced is... Pause for suspense. I know you know who it is, it was Wonhee. At first it seems like she wasn't believing it, she walked a bit lost and only smiled when the people started cheering. I have to say she looked beautiful here. But I don't think she should be there, and you know it. She is too young and not prepared. Don't try to justify and say she is, because she's not. Yes, she can sing, but she's insecure, she doesn't have attitude on stage, her expressions are always the same. She literally has the same facial expression in all of her performances, and she only learned to smile more naturally in the last episode. But here's the proof that she is young and immature, her speech. She literally said, "Actually I really didn't dream of this, I feel a little startled." Let's have a moment to think. Meanwhile, the screen is showing her biggest fan Lee Hyun laughing so hard. Then Wonhee makes that lost face, like she doesn't know what to do. You can think of it as she is cute and funny, but do you realize what her words mean? She is so young and not prepared, and still got first place, letting some very talented people behind, people that trained for years, and that is what she has to say? I think even she knew she wasn't prepared, but the producers forced her until the end, and now everybody forced her to debut, what she clearly wasn't expecting. The question that comes into my head is if it's a thing between the producers, the fans, or there's something more to this story, because it is indeed weird. And I'm not saying it's weird because I didn't want her, I'm saying this because of her face, she clearly didn't expect it. She doesn't know how to react, she's surprised. That's not how someone reacts for something they dream of, or expect. In other words, there's something wrong. I felt bad watching this, hearing what she said. You have 20 trainees crying because that was their dream, and then the first person to be called say this. It might have hurt a lot to trainees like Jiwoo and Yuna, with years being trainees. It's just not a nice thing to say in a moment like this. When I say she isn't mature, that's what I'm talking about. Do you think Jiwoo, the oldest, would say something like it? Even MC Soo-young didn't know what to say and laughed, because that was it, that was the only thing when he said, so she said the young trainee debuted, as if that would justify what she said. Like when your kid does something inappropriate and you try to work it out. The second member announced by votes was Youngso. She was in my picks, so I'm happy for her. She wasn't part of my first picks, but as they were being eliminated, she became one of them. She's good with expressions, she's got that center material. Maybe I'll make a full video talking about what I think could be their positions. I was sure she would be in the group, and I think she plays an important role. She was trying not to cry, and we can see she was trembling. She said she dreamed of it for a long time and thanked everyone for making it possible, the usual things people say in this situation. They will announce the ones chosen by the coaches, and one of them says they thought about the harmony as the members of ILLIT. Are they sure? Because I don't think it was the best, but we'll see. The third place in the group goes to Minju. She was also third in the votes, by coincidence. She was already crying, she said she thinks of her debut since middle school and thanked everybody. MC Soo-young told her she said she wanted to be smiling if she debuted, and not crying, but she got emotional. She wasn't a pick of mine, but I wouldn't mind if she was in the group because she is a great vocalist. If there was a group with her, Jiwoo and Chanel, the vocal world would shake. The fourth to be announced was for sure a Japanese girl, because this survival show is so smart, that MC Soo-young said Global Idol Group to announce the fourth place. It was Iroha. She also got emotional and thanked everyone. I was thinking she could be in the group, but I didn't really want it, because she is as young as Wonhee, she is very good at dancing but has to work on her vocals, and she was the most edited person on this survival show, I think. Remember her robotic voice on Money Performance? I don't think she needed to debut now, she has time to practice more on vocals. There were some complete artists that didn't make it to the group. The fifth place surprised me. At this point, I didn't expect they would call Mocha, but she was fifth. She also cried and thanked everyone, saying she didn't expect it. She is one of my picks since the beginning. She's so versatile, she adapts to every concept and does it well, from tomboy to oh my girl. I think she can be very useful in a group, she is good at singing high choruses. I'm happy she is in the group, but also that leads us to only one place left. That means that Out Golden Trio is not possible anymore, cause none of them have entered yet. I couldn't think of anyone for the last place. I thought it could be Yuna because the camera was focusing too much on her, or maybe Jimin. I wanted so much for it to be Jiwoo because she is the oldest and it might be hard for her to get in another company, plus, it would be good to have a main vocalist like that. It ended up being Yuna, and I'm happy for her, because she seemed so nervous. She had her eyes closed for some time, then she was about to panic when it got to the last place. They took so long to announce, that even the audience reacted. When they announced her, she started crying so hard. I always said she tried to be a bad girl, but had a soft heart. She was very emotional in all eliminations they had, she always expresses herself a lot with her face. She was breathing so fast I thought she would panic. What makes me emotional is that sometimes they showed the girls' parents crying in the audience. Then all the eliminated trainees started to cry too. After Mocha calmed Yuna down, she started to talk, but she had some hiccup from crying. She said she has been training for 5 years and then thanked everyone, her family for supporting her through 5 years, her friends and fans. She was crying so much and sounded so sincere, they even showed the other trainees crying. She made me cry too, I could feel how much she wanted it. Even Soo-young's voice was different when she went to talk to the coaches. They gave some words to the trainees and the group. I think Yuna is a great choice to have in the group, but I don't know if she fits this one though. She fits so well with Jiwoo and Jimin, I can't believe the three of them will be separate. They already seemed like a group without having one. Yuna showed herself a great performer, even being a bad girl, as being a good girl too. She sings well, dances powerfully, expresses herself, a complete artist. Then they let the 4 girls who didn't make it speak. Jong-eun was smiling and not desperate. She wasn't in my picks, but in the beginning of the show I thought she would debut because she is an actress with great facial expressions, but then Youngso took that title. Jimin started crying when she said she didn't debut and Jiwoo helped her, then I started crying too because they showed her parents crying and I'm sensitive. She was 3rd place in halfway voting today, and she was always on top 6 on global votes. She had big chances of getting in the final lineup, but the coaches are weird, just as Korean fans, sorry. What's interesting is that she was 1st place in the pre-ranking evaluation by HYBE. And for a moment on the last global votes, we thought the lineup would be the same as that ranking. Jimin is good at everything too, the only thing she sometimes does is getting out of breath, but to have her in a group would be good and also attractive to the public because as I said before, she was always on top 6 on global and Korean votes lately. Then Jiwoo tries to speak and loses her voice for crying. She was hanging on so well until now, I was even impressed. She must be feeling a lot of pressure and sadness, because it's not easy to be the oldest, be afraid of not getting to another company, and being the best vocalist on a survival show that throws you away. I think I cried the most with her speech. At least one thing that's good about this finale is that they let the trainees take their time to speak. Even crying, Jiwoo is beautiful. She said she practiced for a long time, that she had times when she wanted to give up, but she doesn't regret of any performances, which I think she's right because she was great in all of them. Then she thanked all the trainees, staff, directors, her family who were there and waited for her, and said this is not the end. They showed her mom and sister, and I was crying already. I can't believe we lost her. Funa was crying too, she wasn't before. Himina stopping to breath because the voice was getting shaky by crying is so me. She was cute there. MC Sooyoung's voice was shaky this time. I think she was the best adult in this show, she's so caring about the girls, it's a cute relationship. I'm going to talk about the final lineup now. It's not bad, but it's not good either. It feels like nobody fits there. It's weird, but even with them saying they thought about the harmony of the group, I don't feel it. The ones that I wanted or expected were Youngso, Minju, Mocha and Yuna. I wanted them together with Jimin and Jiwoo. This would be the ideal group if we consider only these 10 trainees. The truly ideal was to have Chanel too, a strong vocal group. Jihyun would also be a nice add to the group. Of course, other trainees were good too, but they didn't have chances, unfortunately. I already said why I didn't want Wonhee or Iroha in the group, but let's analyze the group as it is now. Wonhee never fits for me. I think the only way she could fit in a group is with a happy concept, but then Youngso is not so powerful as she can be, same with Minju and Yuna. Iroha is okay on powerful concepts too, but I don't see her being part of the group, I don't know, I think it would depend a lot on which lines she gets in a song. I also don't think Iroha is great with happy songs. So like that, either they will turn the powerful girls into happy ones, or try to turn Wonhee into a powerful girl, which I don't see it happening so soon. You can't be powerful from day to night, I think it's easier to be happy. And I say this as a dancer myself. Maybe they'll go with the aim high concept for the title song, something happier. I prefer the other songs, like Desperate, but we'll see. Youngso, Minju, Mocha and Yuna are good, but without Jiwoo and Jimin, I can't see a connection between them, they feel distant to me. Yuna will probably gather them together, but right now it's like when they separate friends at school and unite with random people from class. I can see Yuna treating Wonhee like a baby, and Iroha talking in Japanese to Mocha and being friends with Youngso. It still feels distant. Now something serious that will happen and people will complain a lot about it later, I bet the company will make Wonhee practice a lot, like so much. They will make her practice facial expressions with Youngso for hours non-stop, and they will probably get such little rest until debut, because they have 2 or 3 months to prepare everything. And if you think Wonhee is ready and the company thinks like that, sorry to tell you, but they fooled you. I bet the dancers in the company will push her to her max to be leveled up with the other girls. Otherwise, we will have a group where people will watch the real fan cams and say, why is Wonhee different from the others? Because if you look at them as a whole, like I did on Aim High Performance, when the camera gets the full dance she is not dancing as powerfully as Yuna for example. I'm not hating on her. This is what will happen, like it happened to other groups before. It's always like this. I'll give a recent example I remember now, Black Swan, which is not a very famous group, got 2 new trainees to add in the group in 2022, they got in because they were good, right, but they had to practice the group song in 2 days and become professional dancers in this time. They kept dancing until night, until they had the full dance without any little mistake or difference in the moves, because they weren't dancing as good as idols. He will probably go through it, adding facial expressions. That's what I'm talking about. She said she didn't know if this is her dream, so I don't know if she can handle this pressure. By her face in the finale, I hope she gets okay, because it'll be tough. This is why minors should wait a little longer. It's a lot of pressure to handle. We change a lot from 15 to 17 years old, we question everything and we have doubts. This group has 6 members. If the curse is real, they better prepare, cause they have some loose ends right there. And like this, Are You Next ends? What did you think of the final lineup? Will you follow the group? I think I'll wait for the first song to come out. And here I end the Are You Next reviews. I'll still make a video about the possible positions in the group. Turn notifications on if you want to see the next survival shows, like Dream Academy and random K-pop opinions. And don't forget to like. Bye.